Hi, my name is Henry Blake. I just want to take just a few minutes just to speak with you at conclusion of this course. By the way, I'd like to say and add to Professor Wagner, I greatly appreciate everything that you have displayed throughout this course, the diligence and the determination that you have shared with us, great insight, great information that we will be able to use and utilize in this course and through this course and in the rest of our lives. I greatly appreciate it. I want to just take a few minutes and just cover just a few aspects and a few things that I've learned during the course of this class. One of the things that I did take away from this was my informative speech. My informative speech overall went well. Of course, there were some issues, there were some few things that I would have liked to have done better, some pauses that came up along the way. There are some other aspects of the informative speech that I would have loved to have done a whole lot better, but being that was my first time actually taking the time to do a video, never done one of those informative speeches before in such a manner. So in lieu of that, there are definitely some aspects, there are some things that could have gone a lot better, could have done differently. But however, overall, I think that the informative speech went well. I needed to make sure my points were a little more informative because I did not take the time to really display some of the information that needed to be given during an informative speech. So in lieu of that, those are some aspects of the informative speech that I could do better, I could have done better, and will do better in the future during this process. My demonstration speech, however, I believe went really well. I think I picked out a good tool to use, the guitar with my demonstration speech. I love the guitar, I love music, and so just searching for something to use. When I picked out the guitar, I knew that I would be able to really display and demonstrate the necessary things to add to that. And so my demonstration speech overall, I feel, went very well. Of course, again, there are some issues, there were some areas where I could have done a few things differently. I could have been a little more creative with my object and during my demonstration. And again, however, the pauses were an issue, as pointed out, and I need to work on allowing my speech to flow a little more accurately and a little more smoothly in my deliverance. So in my demonstration speech, again, overall, I think it went very well. I think of course, there were some things that could have done a little differently, could have added to enhance the overall outcome of the demonstration speech. My persuasive speech, for the most part, went very well. I was commented there were some great apologetics demonstrations. The love of God really came across very confident, very clear, and my testimony was very strong during that. And so those were some very good points that during this speech, my persuasive speech, that were highlighted. And so with that, of course, we go to the downside of the persuasive speech, and I didn't really think about and really didn't grasp the audience that I was addressing. And that was one of the things that came up in the comments, was that most of my peers, most of the students, they are believers, they are Christians. And so my audience that I chose to address should have been just a little bit different. I should have really thought about my audience and who I was addressing. And so with that, I'll make sure that next time that when I do take the time to do a persuasive speech, that I will make sure that I understand my audience, I understand who I'm speaking to, and that way I will be able to form my speech around that. Also, the right audience, again, must be picked out and chosen correctly. I was able to use good logic and good argumentation. Needed to be bumped up just a little bit, but overall it did go well. Another thing that I learned and understood in one of the comments is that I need to make sure that my audience is seen. I know on various times that my audience wasn't seen, and so I will need to make sure that my audience is seen, that you'll be able to see my audience. So those are some of the things that in my persuasive speech that I would need to address and do differently. Biblical principles that are relevant during any speaking. I remember, or I look at 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, when it says to study to show thyself approved, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. And so anytime that you are delivering a speech, anytime that you are speaking to someone, truth must be relevant. You must be able to deliver truth. You must make sure that you're delivering truth during your speeches, and that you understand and knowing your material. When 2 Timothy says to study to show thyself approved, that means that you must search the word diligently. That means that you are searching your material, you're studying your material, you understand your material, you know your material, and so when you go to deliver your material, you're more confident and you understand exactly what it is. Christ, again, emphasizes, Timothy emphasizes that we must study to show ourselves approved unto God more so than anything. He desires perfection, and so when we are delivering speeches, he desires perfection inside of that. He said that everything that we do, we must do it as unto Christ. And so with that, we must make sure that we are delivering wholesome and good material, just not any old thing that we get out of a whim, but we need to make sure that we are delivering good and wholesome material, truth, relevancy that applies to your audience. Other biblical principles when speaking has been proven to be the best foundation based off of truth and relevancy. Every aspect of the Bible pertains to life. So biblical principles that can be used again is a foundation. Biblical principles has been proven to be a foundation in any speech, in any relevancy of manner. The Bible has been used throughout, even in the most relevant or early history literature. And so the Bible has always been a great foundation, has always been relevant to our society and the makeup of this world. In my arena of public speaking, as I'm getting ready to close, in my area or arena of public speaking, as I do quite often as a youth pastor, as a mentor, a counselor, there are many aspects that I will be able to take away from this class, both personal and academically. These techniques that I have learned during this course will undoubtedly help me to enhance my deliverance and my confidence with accuracy and boldness. This class has really enlightened me in a lot of areas in my public speaking. One thing that I have learned undoubtedly is that you must take your time, and you must again understand your material, know your material, and just allow things to flow. Let your material flow. I love if I can backtrack just for a second, I love the part that when we covered it about when we make mistakes, how to recover from those mistakes. I'm sure you, as myself, have made many flubbers during your speech, and the fact to know how to recover during those times really causes one to be more confident, really kind of gives you insight as to what to do when you flubber, when you make that mistake, and how to move forward from that, and to make a joke of some sort, or just to kind of get the audience away from, or distracted away from the mistake or the error. And most of the time during your speeches, most people really won't know that there has been a mistake made except for you. And so you've got to know and be confident enough to say to yourself, I made a mistake, I made a flubber, and push past it and keep moving forward. So again, in my arena of public speaking, as I do as a youth pastor, and I speak quite oftenly when I'm mentoring, when I'm counseling with young men and women, these things will help me to enhance these aspects, these techniques that I have learned during this course will help me in those times and areas of me speaking to them. And most importantly, this will help me when I am getting ready to actually have a speaking engagement at our state convention that takes place once a year. And so I'll actually be playing a part in that. And so this class is very timely in that manner, because I'll be able to use some of these techniques and some of these things during that time of my speech to enhance my speech, to enhance my time on the platform, and to be more confident, more boldness. So again, this class has helped me greatly in vast areas. These techniques, like I said, I have learned during this course will undoubtedly help me to enhance my deliverance, my confidence, and my accuracy with boldness. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to the conclusion and the closing of this class. Again, I want to thank you, Professor Wagner, for all that you do. I want to thank you again for your commitment and your diligence to the school. And thank you very much. And God bless you, and hope to hear from you soon.